Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're stepping right into the shoes of ALINE, a 19-year-old girl from rural Rwanda. We're going to experience her world firsthand, unpacking this deeply emotional journey of hidden struggles, sheer resilience, and honestly, incredible personal growth. Take a look at this quote. It perfectly captures what we're talking about today. For a lot of young people stepping out of rural poverty, the absolute biggest test at university isn't actually the final exams. As we're about to see through Aline's eyes, the true test, it's simply making it through the day. Section 1. The Village Dream. All right, picture her ordinary world. Imagine the smell of the village air, the crickets chirping in the background. There's Aline with her neat cornrow braids and a worn-out notebook, lit up by just a single tiny kerosene lamp. Every single night, after washing metal dishes and finishing up her family chores, she sits right there on the floor of her mud brick house. She's quietly visualizing a totally different future, believing with everything she has that education is her golden ticket out. Then, everything changes on a day that starts out like any other. At dawn, she's carrying a yellow jerry can of water down a dirt path. But then, the disruption. A moto taxi kicks up dust to deliver a white envelope. By midday, with trembling hands and her eyes wide with absolute shock and joy, she opens an admission letter to the University of Rwanda. Her mother pulls her into this tight, tearful hug, and really, for the very first time, her entire family starts to believe that a different future is actually possible. Section 2. The City's Harsh Reality. So picture Aline on a bus, keeping all her worldly possessions in a single, worn-out duffel bag. The familiar green terraced hills reflecting in her windows suddenly vanish, replaced by a shocking, hyper-fast reality. She's thrown into the busy, rainy streets, the towering buildings, and the blaring bright lights of Kigali. It literally feels like another planet to a girl who's never even left her village. And that shock, it only amplifies the second she steps onto the university campus. You can just feel her isolation here. She's walking past these modern brick buildings, surrounded by confident peers casually holding laptops and coffee cups. Everything moves so fast. There's this intense new pressure, a completely different lifestyle. And honestly, worst of all, Aline experiences the crushing weight of feeling entirely invisible in this demanding new environment. Moving to Section 3, the silent battle. The quiet heartbreak of poverty here is just devastating. Think about the loud, bright cafeteria. Students are laughing, eating hot meals together, and meanwhile, Aline is secretly counting the few coins in her worn-out purse. And then that devastating realization hits her, it's just not enough. She has to swallow hard, put on a brave face, and physically walk away from the warmth of that cafeteria, right back into the shadows. This is what her viewpoint is actually like behind closed doors. While her roommates are eating takeaway and laughing at something on a smartphone, she's sitting with her back turned, drinking a cup of tap water, literally just to fill her stomach. Some nights, she goes to sleep completely hungry. Her nights become filled with absolute silence, shaky breathing, and solitary tears in a pitch-black room lit only by moonlight. And she cries silently, specifically so no one else will hear her pain. The physical exhaustion just becomes overwhelming. Imagine her trudging along the Kigali roadside in heavy rain, shoes totally splashed with mud under a cheap umbrella. Fast forward, and she's sitting in a lecture hall, rubbing her temples, physically unable to keep her eyes open, falling asleep simply out of pure, unadulterated hunger. It's right in this dark, exhausting moment that the ultimate question of self-doubt creeps in. Do I really belong here? It's a question that threatens to break this village girl's spirit entirely. The pressure is immense. And that feeling of not belonging, it's heavy enough to crush anyone's dreams. Section 4. Refusing to give up. But here's where it turns. Aline pivots directly from despair into pure resourcefulness. First, she studies furiously, alone at a large table in the massive campus library during golden hour. Second, she uses her own hands to literally craft her survival, carefully threading colorful beads to make these handmade bracelets. And finally, she puts on a genuine smile on campus as she sells those bracelets to other students for just a few notes. She is actively keeping herself in the fight. This part really gets me. Standing on a high balcony overlooking the Kigali sunset, she holds a cheap smartphone to her ear. Her eyes are watering, fighting back tears of absolute exhaustion. But she forces this wide, reassuring smile for the phone call home. "I'm okay, Mama. I'm studying hard." She's protecting her family, right? She's bearing the entire painful truth of her daily life all by herself, just so they can keep their hope alive. Which brings us to Section 5, Finding Her Voice. Slowly but surely, her immense hard work starts speaking so much louder than her struggles. We start seeing these really beautiful, small victories, like a proud lecturer in a suit handing her back a paper with a bright red A on it. Her smile just lights up the room. We see her sitting on the grass in a study circle, pointing at a book, explaining concepts, while her peers listen to her with genuine respect. She is pulling herself out of the shadows and stepping right into the bright, warm light of academic leadership. As ALINE walks confidently across the campus courtyard, holding her books to her chest with a deeply confident smile and the sun setting behind her, we see the ultimate takeaway of her journey. Success isn't about having an easy, paved path. No, it's about continuing to walk forward even when life becomes incredibly painful. Her story is a massive beacon of hope for any village child, or really any youth anywhere, fighting their way out of poverty with a dream. This powerful truth perfectly summarizes our entire explainer today. Behind many university smiles are silent battles. It's a profound reminder for all of us to look just a little bit deeper at the people around us. Because that student sitting next to you with a bright smile, they might be fighting an incredibly tough battle just to be in that seat. So, I want to leave you with this final thought to reflect on as we wrap up today's explainer. What is your silent battle? And more importantly, how can ALINE's fierce resilience inspire you to absolutely refuse to give up on your own dream? Keep pushing forward, guys, and keep looking out for one another.